I'm 7 years old. I'm in the Dominican Republic. I live in this apartment with my mother and her sisters. My mother had me at a very young age, so her sisters helped raise me. At the time, my mother was a nurse, and she was studying to become a doctor. So there were a lot of books in my house, a lot of skulls, a lot of bones, and it was kind of creepy, but my friends thought it was cool. And I just my mom had me so young that she didn't want me to make the same mistakes she made. So she kind of freaked me out by showing me a lot of those books with the STDs and like, Jackie, this is what happens when you have sex. And she put me in a room and showed me videos of women giving birth, which actually scare me till this day. So I don't have any children yet. So every Tuesday evening, there would be Domino's, buy one get one free, and she would get me buy one get one free because I loved pizza to distract me, and I would watch a lot of TV. TV was basically like my babysitter. I remember falling in love with film and the Mickey Mouse Club, Saved by the Bell, Full House, Charles in Charge, all these awesome we had cable, so it was all these awesome TV shows. I told my mom, you know what? I want to be an actress. I want to sing. And she's like, all right. And she put me in lessons. So I started taking acting lessons. I started singing. I started playing the saxophone at a very young age. And I was a very busy little girl. And I had a lot of recitals and plays, and my mother never showed up. So she had to get two jobs because those lessons were expensive, and she was studying to become a doctor. So I just remember resenting my mother because she was never there, but my aunts were there. But I do have to tell you something. My mother did believe in me because she became a doctor, and after all that hard work of studying, she decided when I was 15 to move to Hollywood so I can pursue my dream. So from the Dominican Republic, we moved to Hollywood. And there, I went to a performing arts high school called Hamilton Music Academy. I was busy there too. I did academic courses, performing arts classes, chamber singers, marching band. I was kind of like a cool nerd. Then I had to get a job because we lived in this small little apartment in a studio. Our life wasn't the same. We had a blow-up bed, and I had to take a bus for a whole hour because my school was a magnet school. I just remember that I needed to get a job if I wanted anything. So my first job was a coat check at a underage club, 15 and over. It was a club called Seven. So all these little rich kids would come in with their Chanel bags. I still don't own one yet, but eventually I will. And I saw a lot of Disney stars, and I was just surrounded by what I wanted to be, and I thought that was really cool. I felt like it was the universe winking at me. So finally, I met this girl called Becky. I was really impressed by her. She had a Honda Civic, which is really cool back then, and she lived by herself. She didn't even go to high school, and I thought that was really awesome. She had no rules. And my mom's boyfriend moved in with us, right, in a studio apartment. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to live here anymore. My blow-up bed moved to the kitchen. Like, it was embarrassing. I couldn't even invite friends over. So I kept complaining to Becky, and she's like, you know what? Why don't you come live with me? And she would drive me to school. I didn't have to take the bus. So that was awesome. So then I told my mother, the woman who changed her whole life for me, I don't want to live with you. You have too many rules. And she's like, she's from New York. She's like, oh, really? Okay. You want to be an adult, Jackie? Fine. Just don't come back. Wait till you have a daughter. And I was like, okay, Mom. I don't want to have kids right now. I'll be punished. And then I moved out. I moved with Becky. And I started to change. I wasn't that girl who was pursuing her dream anymore. I started to miss school. I started to miss work. I got a piercing in my belly button, which was a big no-no at my mom's house. I was not the same. I remember one morning we were on our way to a Wango Tango concert, from Kiss FM. We won tickets or whatever. I was missing work again. And we were driving to the exit, and we were following a friend. And for some reason, they became to race. They started to race. And she tried to take control of the wheel, and she lost control. And the one day I don't wear my seatbelt, we hit the curb. We're going 80 miles an hour. The car flips 3 times, and I fly out the window. I basically left my forehead in the pavement. And my friend Becky, instead of calling 911, she's calling her mom and freaking out because she doesn't have a license. And I'm saved by a man on a bicycle holding me, calling 911. I wake up 2 weeks later with a tube down my throat, and I learned that I was in a coma for 72 hours. I had brain surgery. My lung was collapsed, a kidney contusion. I broke 2 vertebrae. My life changed. So I get up. I try to look at myself in the mirror. My eyes were crooked, so I had to look sideways, and I couldn't even smile. Like, I had to smile sideways because my face was paralyzed. And I see myself, and my head, my hair was shaved. I have 30 staples. I have scars all over my face, my hands. I couldn't even get up because I would get dizzy. And after 4 months, I had to go to a rehab center because I had to make sure that my brain was okay, that get my muscles back working like they used to, and because eventually I was able to walk again, obviously. And I would cry every single night. I was the oldest one there because I was 17, and 18 and overs for the adult rehab, and I was the oldest one and the only one who could walk. Was crying to my mother every night, "Mom, I don't want to live. My life is over. Look at me. How am I going to make it in Hollywood? Look at me." And my mom, I wanted to kill myself. And my mom would say, "Jackie, stop. You survived. You're not even supposed to be here. You're not even supposed to, like, walk." And she told me, she showed me pictures of my headshots before my accident and said, "This is just temporary. Your hair is going to grow back. This is scars heal." And then across the room, there was this little girl laughing and smiling at me. And I'm like, "Who's that?" I go over to her. She's like, "You had brain surgery too." I was like, "Yeah." So we had that connection because we both had shaved heads. And she was like, she was paralyzed from the neck down. And she was happy and laughing and smiling at me. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? I felt guilty. I felt guilty because I wanted to kill myself, and I could walk again. Eventually, I'm going to heal. And this little girl is happy just the way she is. That changed my life. Melly changed my life. I saw the beauty within, and she was beautiful on the outside as well. And she gave me the strength to try. So I went to the Dominican Republic, where my aunts waited for me with open arms. Tia Madeline, Tia Millie, Tia Lucy. And I had, the only thing I could control was my mind and my body. I started to work out, then I walked, and then I could run, and then I started doing abs, and then my hair started to grow out, and I was getting confidence. And I grew out this weird hospital mullet, and I didn't want anyone to touch my hair because it was finally growing out. So I go back to Hollywood with this weird mullet and a six-pack, ready to get a job, right? I started looking for a presentation. I had this weird headshot with like a mullet pony. I don't know, but I didn't look like myself. But I wanted to do this. I had the power. I had the strength from within to try. And then I sent out hundreds of headshots, hundreds, to get agency and manager. It was really hard, but eventually I got one. And I got my first job in 2006 on The Shield. It was on Fox, and I had 2 lines, and it was a rape victim. It was like, "The mask was red. Did you see him?" "No." That was it. And I got my SAG card, Screen Actors Guild, and I was an actress. You know, I was finally an actress. And I felt so good, and my dream was reawakened, and I knew that it was possible, but my jobs were very few and far between, and a lot of one-liners. I started to work on my music. Music really inspired me throughout the years. And since I didn't have a lot of jobs, I started to work on music, and music brought me to New York, which changed my life. And for a couple years, I just did my music, and I started to miss acting. It was like a little hunch at first, but then I really couldn't ignore it. I had to audition again. So I had this audition for Netflix. I'm like, what is Netflix? I don't even have Netflix. For a show called Orange is the New Black. I'm like, what does that mean? And then it was for Flaca, a feisty Latina. That's all they gave me. I was like, all right, I can be feisty, and I am a Latina. So they said, come in with no makeup. I was like, what? No makeup? All right, I've been there before. I can do this. So I went in. I gave it my all. It was 2 lines again. Every other word is a bad word, so I'm not going to tell you right now. The King Cone scene. And I got a phone call 2 weeks later. You got the part. I was like, all right. And then now I get to be on this amazing show, work with these talented, beautiful women. And they're not the stereotypical Hollywood beauties I grew up watching. These array of colors that defy the meaning of beautiful, all these different types of women on the mainstream that were never seen before, and I get to be one of them. Oh, God. It was always what was in the inside that counted. I learned that through Melly. I learned that through my mom, and now this history-making show. Giving it with all your heart, regardless of what's on the outside. Real people, real women, they lead with their hearts, not with their looks. Looks fade, looks can change tomorrow. And for me, that was the ultimate lesson. Thank you. God bless.